Some forms of occultism put special emphasis on getting in touch with one's holy guardian angel. In fact, the horror movie A Dark Song was a take on that. It revolved around the instructions given in an early 17th century grimoire, which was written in 3 volumes and called the Book of Abramelin. The Book of Abramelin is a very long and involved magical operation to realize a holy guardian angel. After attaining this, one is promised all kinds of magical powers, not unlike those known in yoga, such as the powers of magical flight, materialization, and longevity. At the turn of the 20th century, in 1897, this grimoire was partially and somewhat inaccurately translated and dated by Samuel MacGregor Mathers, who was the founder of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. He conflated the grimoire's version of the Holy Guardian Angel with the Neoplatonic term Deities. Plotinus, the father of Neoplatonism, who lived during the 3rd century, referred to the Deities as a personal daimon in his commentary on passages in Plato's Republic, Timaeus, and Phaedo. He describes it as a perfect divine idea of oneself to aspire to. Through it, a person transcends the limitations of his incarnation and fate and evolves closer to union with God in a path of return. Aleister Crowley, who belonged to the Golden Dawn and spun off the Ordo Templis Orientis and other lodges from it, began to do work with and write about the Holy Guardian Angel, developing his own ideas about what it was and rites about achieving it. Although the rites were involved, the concept of the Holy Guardian Angel for Crowley was perhaps similar to that of the Platonic Greco-Roman and also Eastern ideas about realizing a personal guiding genius, angel, or divine ideal to aspire to. It's not uncommon among magical practitioners to relate to what you might call a spirit guide or an entity that is experienced as a presence that acts as a mentor or ideal. Whether these presences are actual spiritual beings or projections or fragments of one's own consciousness is a point that a person needs to decide for him or herself. In this video, I'm going to share some history and insights about the spiritual guide or ideal. Christian children are often assured that they are being watched over by a guardian angel. That concept may be a carryover from ancient Roman culture in which people believed that each and everyone had a personal guiding spirit called a genius for men and a Juno for women. The Greek equivalent was called a daimon. The definition of a genius is an attendant guardian spirit that is assigned to every person at birth and that governs their fate and determines their character. Genii were also assigned to groups of people such as families and to places such as cities. Genii associated with people were often depicted in art as winged children or young adults, much like the Renaissance version of cherubs and angels. Although the Roman term genius evolved to mean someone who was exceptionally smart and creative, the Greek term daimon wasn't so lucky. It evolved into the word and idea of demon, possibly because, unlike the word genius, the word daimon could be equivocal and refer to a spirit that had good or bad intentions. References to genii can be found in the late 16th century grimoire The Arbital, in which the term calidomones, or good spirits, is found, as well as a reference to the genius addicted to a person from his birth. This suggests that even in late medieval Christian Europe, some folks were still familiar with classical Roman religion. A spiritual guardian may also be referred to as a patron or tutelary deity. Similar to the Roman genius, a patron deity can be considered a spiritual guide or a protector of a person, a group, or a place. It's not uncommon in modern eclectic neo-paganism for practitioners to choose or feel connected to a particular deity from the wealth of world pantheons and dedicate themselves to work with that deity. But a spiritual guardian or guide can be an historic and legendary person who is elevated to a place among the spiritual elect. This is the case not only in Eastern spirituality, but certain forms of Christianity and Islam. In addition to the idea of a guardian angel is the patron saint. Similar to the Roman genius, the patron saint is the heavenly advocate and protector of a person, a group, a nation, a place, or a skill or job. But let's go back to the Neoplatonic idea of the Deities as the divine ideal to aspire to. This concept is very similar to Eastern ideas about communion with a spiritual ideal. It is not a being that gives you special magical powers, and although it can be thought of as a benefactor, protector, or guide, it's more than that too. It's something that you aspire to become. In Hinduism, it is called the Ishtadevata, usually translated as chosen ideal, although the term means something more like Lord God. It is the personal representation of an impersonal and attributeless divinity. It's God with form, or God with attributes, and a philosophical system that believes that all gods are one God, that God is reality itself, and that enlightenment is the realization and identification with that reality. How do we have a relationship with a transcendental, inconceivable, and impersonal mystery that is life itself? It is by imagining and relating to it as a being with a personality and attributes that we are in relationship with. In Tibetan Buddhism, the Ishtadevata is called a yidam. The term more strongly denotes the idea of self-integration with an ideal or truth. Yidam essentially means to bind one's mind by oath to a deity or any kind of spiritual or even historical figure who embodies enlightened mind. In esoteric tantric forms of Hinduism and Buddhism, a person is initiated into practices about how to work with and realize the spiritual ideal. Although very different from occult practices, they may be just as rigorous and complex. In other circumstances, a person might simply be assigned or adopt a mantra of a particular spiritual personality and intone it while contemplating that being. The attitude may be devotional or theurgic, with the aim of being like or self-realized as the divine ideal. If you found this information informative, I invite you to subscribe to my channel and also visit me at sorcerersandmagi.com.